City of Watertown has a work session tonight. It is the 10th of November, and Mayor Sarah Pierce is here to talk about a few items, big items, I think, that are on the agenda for tonight. So good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let me ask you first about the elections. You have two new members of City Council coming in. We knew they'd be new, but now you know who they are, Shane Garabrin and Doug Osborne. What's your reaction to having these two gentlemen join the lawmaking body?
Very excited, looking forward to a new chapter for City Council. I think that these two individuals have a good mix of experience and, more importantly, dedication and interest in serving the city. So I'm excited to have them come aboard.
Do you think that Mr. Garabrandt will lend a valid voice when it comes to the hydro issue? Because clearly
I think
that's
so.
going to be one.
That's in his wheelhouse. That's his area of expertise. And I think that was one of the big things that he talked about during the campaign that resonated with voters. So, we'll look to him to see what kind of ideas that he has as we move that process ahead.
And that reminds me of the requests for proposals, the RFP for
Correct.
the hydro plant, right? The city's going to go out and solicit bids to have somebody come in, a consultant come in and lead the city in the right direction, suggest some ideas of
Sure.
where to go.
So
why go in that direction?
We, as I think most people know, we had a consultant previously that worked with the Hydro Commission to put together a report, some ideas of how to move forward. That was a couple years ago. Certainly things have changed, and so this will hopefully bring somebody in who can work off of that, build on that, and say, okay, at this point in time, these are the options that you should be looking at. These are the things that you should be doing right now.
What's the sense in your mind of what it will look like post-contract? Do you think that the city will lose money no matter what? Because it's lucrative right now.
Well, I think that it's so lucrative right now. I don't know that you could ever replicate that income that we're garnering from that contract. So I would hope that we could do something and get close to that. In my mind, that would be the goal, to get close to that. Do I think we'll ever fully make up for it? Probably not. Never say never, though, I guess.
Water leak for the city of Watertown, right where the water comes into to the plant to be treated and then
Correct.
sent out to residents. So this is the Eastern Boulevard Bridge, upriver from the bridge. There's an intake pipe there. Discovered that it was leaking. Looked like a pretty big leak. I mean, once the water was low enough, you were able to see it kind of gushing out, right? Work was done over the weekend. What is the update here today?
So our water department, in conjunction with some folks who were able to do some diving, were able to patch the leak using some different methods. And I think we're at the point right now where we're seeing if that holds. It'll be about a 7-day process. I know there was cement involved, sandbags, et cetera. So about a 7-day window of time where we'll see if that repair stuck.
Give me a little bit more sense as to, was this an emergency?
I would say it was very serious. I don't think it rose to the level of emergency. Certainly when we became aware, management let DOH know, DANK know. So everybody was looped in and basically told what was going on, and I guess letting them know that it could present an emergency, but not at that point in time. It didn't rise to that level.
So it was in the pipe that was bringing water into the plant. So it wasn't like it was a leak of treated water.
Right.
It was on the other side before it got treated. But still, with that leak, the plant was still doing what it needed to do. Water was
Correct.
still coming in.
Yes. We were able to meet the needs of users. It didn't get to that crisis level, thankfully, and hopefully this repair will address things for the near term.
Yeah, and over the weekend you learned a little bit more about the process or anything of the cost. I mean, to have a dive team on a weekend.
Obviously, that's not free. That's not
Sure.
cheap, I wouldn't think. We don't know, our council hasn't been told yet what the cost would be, what the bill for that would be. Again, I do know that our staff was involved in that process, so hopefully that'll mitigate some of the cost, but I assume we'll be looped in on that.
How was
here
it
soon.
discovered?
I don't know exactly how it was discovered. I think, I'm not sure.
Because
I
a lot
can't
of
speak
times
to
that pipe is
specifically.
underwater.
Yeah, and it was not. So
So
I
that's
would
probably
assume
what.
that somebody saw it
Okay.
and discovered it in that
So the
way.
water on the river was low enough to where now all of a sudden you see something different gushing out.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
now that I'm talking out loud about it, I believe they were out with, I want to say it was, I don't know if it was DOH, I believe a state agency or it might have been a federal agency doing some sort of inspection and somebody
Okay.
saw it.
Interesting. But nonetheless, you think good work over the weekend, and it should be.
It sounds that way.
Yeah.
You know, we're optimistic and we'll see what happens from here.
Dedicated people to be out there on the weekend.
For sure,
right?
and not a warm weekend by any means. So
Tonight also for the council agenda for the work session talking about golf course, right? And you have some numbers for the first time as to the 2025 season. It shows that the bottom line, I think the golf course lost right around
about
$100,000. 2 years ago that was $300,000. Last year it was $250, $275.
it was around that $300,000 figure, I believe.
Okay,
close
and
to
so
that.
a big difference
Sure.
with it losing $100,000. So moving in the right direction. What's your take on that?
Well, I think part of the reason for that decrease in the loss was that we weren't paying a full-time manager throughout the entire season. That contributed to the decrease in the losses. Certainly, losing $100,000 a year is better than $300,000 a year. It's still a loss, though. Still something that has to be looked at, and we'll talk about it more tonight. I know that we have a pretty robust agenda when it comes to this topic. We'll talk through the financials. We'll also talk through different types of structure for the golf course. So do we stay with the same model? Do we switch gears and have a municipal golf course? Do we have a hybrid? There was talk several months ago about the possibility of leasing it out. It's recommended that we not go that route right now. So we'll talk through some of that. And then there's also included in the information that we'll go through tonight discussion about various expenditures that are coming up. So that amount that we either make or lose in the coming years will be impacted obviously by what we're going to need to purchase as far as equipment goes to run the course.
And the Parks and Rec team coming armed with a lot of statistics and information tonight. These guys are doing their homework. So yeah, you save money on the course manager, but if you look at just with golf course fees and memberships actually went down, if I'm reading this correctly. But for golf course fees, you're up by about $50,000 from 2024 to 2025. So even if you didn't have a golf course manager, it shows that there's more popularity, or at least more people are playing the course, right? So I mean, that's got to be moving in the right direction.
Sure, yeah, definitely. I think so. And I think that, you know, possibly the municipal golf course option that's presented in our packets for tonight, that's something that we should look to explore. That would mean a bit of a more bare bones operation there. You know, if golfers are listening, they know that a municipal course locally, the Alexandria Bay, they have a municipal course. It's very basic. You have somebody who's there collecting the money, you have a small snack stand, that kind of thing. But if you went that route, what you wouldn't have was, for example, tournaments. You likely wouldn't have a large food and beverage presence there. So there's pros and cons, but that might be something that makes sense and helps us save a little bit of money.
So right now, if you go this past year, if you went up to the golf course, you had a little bit more option for food, and you could go up there, and not just golfers, right? Anyone could have gone in. And so out of the options tonight, there are actually 4 of them. Keep it as it is, go to municipal, do a hybrid, or just lease it out. With the municipal, you're saying you wouldn't have that option of maybe going up and having a dinner. It's more of a snack bar kind of a thing if you go municipal. And you save money on the other end where you're not hiring that full-time person to run it?
Manager, it would be, it wouldn't be as many or as much staff that would be allotted to help out with operations there. Again, much more bare bones, very basic, which could end up working out for us. I know in our packet, it's mentioned that tournaments don't really bring the city a lot of money.
I found that interesting.
And there's always been a lot of buzz about, well, if we can get more tournaments up there, we can make more money, but tournaments really aren't the money maker for this operation. And anybody who's planned a golf tournament knows that these organizations that are looking to have golf tournaments, they're doing them to raise money. So often they're not money makers.
My mistake was printing this front and back, so I don't know what sheet to turn to. But yeah, tournaments, not a significant source of revenue. And I think that there were 15 this past year.
Around that, I want to say.
So frankly, if you didn't have the tournaments, which don't make a ton of money for the course, and you had open golfing, and you had golf course fees of people playing up by $50,000 for the year, could have been a lot more. You could have been, I don't want to say breaking even, I don't know the numbers that well, but no tournament, still running it as is this way, you could find yourself in a much better financial position.
Yeah.
How many years do you give it?
Gosh, tough to say. I think reasonably at least a couple more years to see how we do, and maybe we'll do better with one of these options. But again, we have a lot of costs coming up that are outlined in this report. Buying new golf carts, there's significant repairs that have to be done to the clubhouse, for example. There's a new roof listed in there, the $100,000. So not cheap by any means to get the course in good condition, get the clubhouse up to snuff, that kind of thing, and to continue to buy the equipment that's necessary to run a golf course. It's not a cheap operation by any means, so something to think about.
And then one of the options, lease it out. People just think, go ahead and lease it out. Probably not, it would release you of a lot of burden financially, but you're still maybe have to, the report says, who has to make these repairs that you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
You'd still have to make those
repairs. That's kind of the big thing, right?
Is it as easy as that because it's parkland up there that you can just go ahead and lease it out, or does it get murky because you don't know if the city can lease that out because it is parkland, state parkland?
I don't know the answer to that question. It's something that we would have to talk with our legal counsel about. I wouldn't think there would be that hurdle that we would have to jump through, but certainly we would have to look into that. And then, of course, that would require approval from the state legislature, which, you know, can be a lengthy process. But if it's something as simple as this, I wouldn't think that it would be that lengthy. You never know.
And then long as we're up in the park, let me just ask you, Zoo, because they got quite a bit of money from the article in the New York Times.
Sure.
What is your quest? Do you have questions about what's next for the zoo when they have that kind of money coming in? Because you're part of a lawmaking body where they've come and they've made requests for financial help, but now they have this financial help, a one-time bang, right? But what questions do you have about that money that has come in recently to the zoo?
I guess, you know, I'd just be curious how they're going to utilize those funds. I think at last I heard it was around $200,000, and I would anticipate that they're keeping very close track of who's donating, and they'll be getting, you know, keeping in contact with those people, and hopefully they'll continue to donate. I imagine that it's people from across the country who saw that article and felt like they wanted to support the zoo, so I think that's a very positive thing for them to get that exposure. So my one question would be how they're going to utilize those funds, and how would that impact any potential asks coming up in the next budget from the city. Are they still pursuing funds from the county? Those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll be looking to get an update from the zoo here in the very near future.
All right.
But overall, good news.
All right, good to see you. Appreciate the information. The council work session tonight, the 10th of November, 7 o'clock, correct? Okay.
Oh, yep, 7 o'clock.